Good evening, everyone. Today is the 19th of February. It's Monday evening. There's many instances in the Old and New Testament which speak of the end of days. And it's usually referring to the time of the very end of time. When time as we know it will be brought into fruition and will be ushered into eternity, when time will be no more. You know, 1 Peter 4:7 says, "But the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore sober, and watch unto prayer." Now that was 2,000 years ago, when Peter said the time of all things is at hand. You know, there's also many times in the New Testament that talks about other times that are likened to the last times, like Noah, like Sodom and Gomorrah, and so on. We see in Luke 17:26, "As it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be also in the days of the Son of Man." Okay? And then he also says in Matthew 24, which we've talked about many times, Matthew 24:22, "And except those days should be shortened, there should be no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake those days shall be shortened." Mark has a similar passage in Mark 13:20. "And except the Lord has shortened those days, no flesh should be saved, but for the elect's sake whom he hath chosen, he has shortened the days." He also talks about using the time of Jonah. He says, as it relates to how long Jesus was going to be in the grave, "Whereas Jonas was 3 days and 3 nights in the whale's belly, so shall the Son of Man be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth." But this idea of the end, or the end of days, or the end times, there's a lot of end times prophecy out there. Matthew 10:22, "And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, but he that endureth shall be saved." He talks about the tares in Matthew 13:40, "As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world." Hebrews 6:11, "And we desire that every one of you do show the same diligence to the full assurance of hope unto the end." Now we know that according to the Bible, that for the elect there's never going to be an end. There's never going to be an end. Luke 1:33, "And he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever, and of his kingdom there shall be no end." Matthew 24:13, and he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. This aspect of the end means the end of this present world as we know it, right? Revelation 2:26, and he that overcometh and keepeth my words unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. Peter 1:9, receiving the end of your faith, even the salvation of your souls. 1 Peter 1:13, wherefore gird up the loins of your mind, be sober, and hope to the end for the grace that is to be brought unto you at the revelation of Jesus Christ. Now it talks in contradistinction about those who are not God's people. In Philippians 3:19 it says, whose end is destruction, whose God is their belly, whose glory is their shame, who mind earthly things. Mark 13:13, and ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, but he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. He talks about the harvest happening at the end of the world. In Matthew 13:39, the enemy that sowed them is the devil, the harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels. Luke 21:9, but when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things first must come to pass, but the end is not by and by. Matthew 24:6, ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. All these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Second Timothy 3:1, this know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. And he says in Matthew 24:14, and this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached to all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. Then shall the end come. End of days, right? End of days as we know it. Revelation 21:6, he said to him, it is done, I'm Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. I will give unto him that is the thirst of the fountain of water of life freely. Revelation 22:13, I am the Alpha, the Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. Well, Matthew 24:31, and he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together the elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. Matthew 24:3, as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, what shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world? Well, I think we're living in the last days. I think we've been living in the last days ever since Christ ascended back to heaven. But I think that, we can look around us, we can see that the world is waxing worse and worse. We can see that we're at the end of the days, when we see all of the immorality and the debauchery and the corruption and everything, and it seems like Satan has been loosed, and we're told when we see all these things beginning to happen to look up, for our redemption draws nigh. Matthew 24:37, but as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Mark 13:17, woe to them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. So we have many, many passages, and I'm just dealing with the passages in the New Testament tonight. There are many, many passages in the Old Testament that talk about the end of days. In Daniel and Ezekiel and many, many other passages in the Old Testament, So anyway, I think we're living in the last days, and I think that everything points to the, I do believe that the people that are living in the very last of the last days, that are Christians, are going to have to go through at least some of the tribulation, and I believe that many of them are going to be killed, because Revelation tells us that the beast will overcome them and will kill them and cause them to be killed. That's what it says. Now, there have been many martyrs down through the years. There's no question about that. But I think that when it says that there's going to be a tribulation such as there was not since the beginning of time, I think that's pretty it's going to show the great distress that's going to come upon the earth. Luke 21:23, but woe unto them that are with child, unto them that give suck in those days, for there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. Say, well, you're just Larry, you're just a doomsdayer. No, I do believe the Bible, though. Okay, I do believe the Bible, and I believe what it says. And a lot of people are into denial. They think that we're going to be raptured out of here. They think that I'm not going to be here when all that comes on the earth. Well, they might be surprised when they see what they have to go through. Matthew 24:38, for as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark. Revelation 9:6, and in those days shall men seek death, and they shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. Fear not, Revelation 2:10, fear not of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. Well, that just gives us a few instances that we've looked at. After the tribulation, Matthew 24:29, after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. You know. So anyway, let us not be weary in well-doing, but let us look for the final days when we will have be ushered into the presence of God. May the good Lord be with you tonight is my prayer. God bless.